reporter Moot, who's witnessed youngsters battle it out at this year's annual Moot Court competition taking place at the Constitutional Court. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us. Please give us a breakdown of how things went.
Well, good afternoon, Katleho. So it really was quite an interesting time here at the Constitutional Court, where we saw youngsters who actually took part in the Moot Court. So they had a scenario that they were given, that they were presented with, and they then had to argue this. So we had applicants and defendants, and the applicants then, of course, taking the win today. And what the justices also said, they had a full bench of judges that were here at the Constitutional Court that actually presided over this matter. And it was quite interesting to hear from the justice, the Chief Justice in the matter, saying that, it was lovely to see young people that are so determined and really interested in the law and presenting it in a different way. But he also mentioned that it seems that the law fraternity is really in good hands, as these learners have presented themselves quite diligently. But they've also, even the judge saying that they've done even better than some of those that stand in front of them on a daily basis and actually get paid to do what they need to do. But let's bring in Commissioner Andre Gam. He's from the South African Human Rights Commission. Now, Commissioner, you as the Human Rights Commission have, of course, worked with the Department of Basic Education and the Department of Justice to bring this through, this Moot Court through to the Constitutional Court. Just your take from what we saw today.
Yeah, let me first of all say the National Moot Court competition is an annual event. We would ideally want to see all schools in the country and all learners participating. It's specifically for grades 10 and 11. It is, as you indicated, about a specific question, a human rights question that is posed. And then the learners, as we saw today here, have to argue that question, the one for the applicant in the matter and the other one for the respondent. So both sides of the question are being argued. We believe this is very important towards the promotion of human rights among our learners, and really for them to start engaging with very important human rights related matters on a real factual base, as you heard today, the factual case that has been stated pertaining to and that involved human rights. So it is a very important initiative from the South African Human Rights Commission, together with the Department of Basic Education as well as the Department of Justice. Initially started by Professor Christoph Haynes from the Center for Human Rights at the University of Pretoria. He sadly passed away now, but he handed it over specifically to the Human Rights Commission, South African Human Rights Commission, to take the lead. And we want, as I indicated, real mass participation from here on. And therefore we're so delighted that Newzroom Afrika is indeed covering this event, and we would like to thank you very much for doing that.
You're very welcome. Just your take on what you saw today and really what we heard from the full bench of judges.
Yes, I think that the standard was very high. It is amazing to see learners being able to argue human rights matters the way they did today. Both the schools from KZN, KwaZulu-Natal, as well as the Western Cape, who acted for the applicants. And in the case of the respondents, schools from Northwest and Limpopo. This is something in which everyone can participate, and we are really very happy with the high level of debate that we had in this case today.
Perhaps tell us, Commissioner, just the elimination process. How did we get to this point where you've got the four provinces taking part and actually presenting their arguments to the judges?
Yes, so first of all, learners in grade 10 and 11 write an essay on the very same moot question. They argue it from both sides, and then that gets marked, and the very best of those enter the competition. Then we have provincial rounds, we have a national round that we had over the last couple of days, and then the final here in the Constitutional Court today. So it's a whole process, and there is the potential really for all grade 10s and 11s to get involved. We want this to even stretch further than schools, getting the communities involved, getting these debates in homes taking place whilst learners are struggling to deal with the Moot Court question, which is, as I indicated, a specific human rights question based on specific facts provided to the learners.
All right. Thank you so much, Commissioner Andre Gam. Really just giving us details, about how the Human Rights Commission has also featured within the particular Moot Court this year. But as you heard from him there as well, quite pleasing to see these young learners participating in the Moot Court and really showing their strengths in what they are able to do. I did have a conversation with the winning oralist in this very final, Katleho, and her name is Jessie Francis, and she mentioned that, she is actually considering taking law up as a career. It was one of her choices, and so she thinks that this will definitely be the career path that she will be looking into now that she's been able to take part in this Moot Court competition.
Well, that's certainly great exposure for those young ones. That Moahi was coming to us from the Concourt in Johannesburg. Now,